our next speaker commenting on e-commerce, because Patrik Müller is a trend spotter, speaker, also just somewhat a guru within e-commerce within the Nordics. I'm sure very curious to hear him give his insights on how to avoid abandoned carts. Patrik, if you're there, the stage is yours. Here's your music.
Sleep the skies, set the shadow, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Hej, vad kul att vara här. Very happy to be here. And there I forgot it again. This is an English session. I've been working within payments in e-commerce for about 20 years, and what a ride it has been. But still, e-commerce is immature. We do a lot of mistakes. And before we go into that, I just want to show you a few things about Nets, the company where I'm working. We are a daughter company to the Nexi Group. We are a part of that. And being a part of that, we are the top 4 card acquirer when it comes to e-commerce transactions in the EU. And also add terminals, because we do all channels, add that. We are actually number 1. But what you really should remember, besides all those numbers, is this. We have more than 140,000 e-commerce customers doing payments through us. So we have some experience with that. But the main thing that we are doing right now is this, the easy checkout. And the checkout that is easy to use, easy to start with, and also saves all data. Basically, you can have 5 addresses, you can have several card numbers stored. So we try to store as much as possible to avoid abandoned cards. We don't want the payment to be something that stops the customer journey. And this is also with local payment methods. Now you see Vipps, which is the Norwegian Swish, I would say. But all right, let's dive into it. Every year we do a report called Svensk e-handel, Swedish e-commerce report. And this year's report shows something interesting. The total grow with 10%. And please note, we are measuring both goods, travel, and services. And, you know, we have had the pandemic that is affecting this, of course. Travel is up 67%. But remember, they were half of this cake before. They had about 50% of the total before. So they need to double from this level to be back at pre-pandemic levels. And that's also the reason why goods takes a huge part of this. Services has grown. You know, we are streaming a lot during the pandemic. But goods, they dropped a little bit last year, mainly due to home electronics and building goods that went down quite a lot. Because, you know, we can only build one veranda, right? So, something else that happened during the pandemic that surprised me a lot was this. We asked the consumers why they shop online. And before the pandemic, it was quite clear that convenience was important. But that changed a lot during the pandemic. And it grew, not much, but a little bit also 2021. So there you have a huge change. And of course, you know, being at home, we maybe didn't have any other way than ordering food. Or perhaps elderly people had no other way than ordering from the pharmacy. And here is the really interesting part. You see, now we are talking about how important price is, and then we are, of course, talking about how important a low price is. And you can see, it's dropped. This is a huge change in how we consumers look at e-commerce. And you know, the numbers for 19, well, it has been looking like that for several years. Not much change. We've talked about it. Well, we think convenience will be more important, but it took a pandemic to make this change. So this is something that will affect everyone within e-commerce. And of course, why the selection of goods, the reason why man go online, this is also important, not much change there. But this, remember this. So being, I've been here talking 10 times or something like that, and for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, I showed this picture. And I think it's pretty much the same thing right now as well. It isn't easy to be a consumer shopping online. It's very easy to make mistakes. This is, of course, someone who's bought from Wish or something like that. They are really tricky with this. You have seen these, I bet. And there are a lot of other things as well why you abandon a purchase. Here is the checklist, actually. We asked the consumers the reason why, and here you see it. The price, including delivery costs, was too high. Perhaps you need to go to the end, to the checkout, to understand what it will cost you, and then you abandon the purchase. Missing payment methods. It's really important to offer your consumers the payment methods they want. Otherwise, this will happen. Payments didn't work. Well, that's no good. If you have a supplier that isn't working, actually. I can tell you, because we are talking about mistakes here. I can tell you mistakes about our company. In 2011, we had so much downtime. We bought mattresses for the developers to sleep in the office, right? It was down so much, right? You don't want to be there. Now we have very high uptime. Lack of delivery options, also important. Getting more and more important. You know, you want to have the goods near you. You don't have the patience to seek out something that's way further than the closest one. Lack of trust, technical issues, difficult to register, and a lot of other stuff as well. This is a checklist. If you're doing e-commerce, take this one and check your site, because there could be very many mistakes that you haven't discovered yet. Since we are here at Liseberg, I need to bring this up. Liseberg released their tickets for the summer, and they have a functionality so you get in a line, you get in queue to buy something. And for me, that's crazy. You know, you have all data power you want in the cloud, but they choose this version. And of course, you get in there, you have 6,000 people before you're in line, 32 minutes to wait, and don't leave the computer, right? But then this happened, right? Königspost, we have a temporary problem with our queue function, and what happened after this, what is broke down totally. And, you know, technology is hard. This supplier, I know this supplier who provide this for Liseberg, well known, but they are releasing the tickets and they get badwill. And I think GP is also a little bit sarcastic here, quoting, this was in April, so they are quoting the press responsible at Liseberg saying, well, this year won't crash like last year because we're going to fix it. Hard position to be in. It's important to make sure the consumers know what's happening and what, you know, the terms and conditions are. And then I don't mean you should display the actual terms and conditions, rather the general thing that's applicable for your store, like Lindex is doing here. This is from the English store. This is very good. Boost are doing this as well. Then you don't have to go to the end of the purchase to understand and create an abandoned cart. Here you instantly know that, well, I need to buy this much if free delivery is important for me. And I also found this. when you are doing e-commerce and have a physical store, omni-channel, this isn't the way to go, right? We update the stock balance every night. That means if someone buys the last thing in the store, they are still selling it online, but cannot deliver on it because they update the stock balance just every night, not every second. Prices may differ between the stores and online. Well, it doesn't really work that way anymore, right? So we are still a little bit immature in the e-commerce industry. One more example, the same thing, but better, right? It updated once an hour, smaller risk, but best in class is, of course, this. This is online, you have everything. So it's possible, it's almost possible that you will not be cheated on your goods because it's sold to anybody else. Then we have the deliveries. A lot of this is where I live, Gärdet in Stockholm, around Christmas. It looks like this every day. And, well, it's a little bit of chaos, right? Arne, do you agree? Not any longer, he says. And deliveries are important, but also being handled in so many different ways. There is really no standard. Have a look here. Here you're offering the consumers two choices. All right, you can get the goods on Wednesday and pay 99, or you can get it on Wednesday and pay nothing. Which do you choose? You know, in the logistic area, there are page after page with this. It's impossible. You can choose a delivery 1 to 6 days, you pay that. Another delivery 1 to 3 days and pay a completely different sum. It's hard for consumers if you don't think this through. Payments, we need to talk about payments. The top list of payments being used is this. You have cards, Swish, invoicing or buy now, pay later, payment by the internet bank and PayPal, and finally Apple Pay, not used that much. But this is the top list. This is what consumers are using, and they are using multiple different payment methods. But we are also asking them, which is your favorite payment method? You can only choose one. Then we get a different image here. The orange, invoicing, dark blue, cards, and Swish, a little bit lighter. That's the top 3. And something has happened here. If you look at the statistics for the latest 5 years, you can clearly see what's happening. Swish is growing, of course, from basically 0. And all the other ones is negative due to the fact that Swish is growing. So this is a huge change. And it's a little bit weird that out of the 250 largest online store, at least according to the magazine Market, don't have Swish. A third of those don't have Swish. That's crazy when you see the other numbers, right? And let me show you how it can look. This is Sara. And here you got to fill in a lot of stuff. And then you have payment methods, pretty good, I think, besides not having Swish and also having in-card, which I believe is some kind of thing the staff is paying with. I think it's like that. And then, all right, let's choose PayPal. Another, you can confirm everything you already put in. And then you took pay, and then you get to PayPal in, is it Spanish? Not a good flow, right? There are so many details. Sorry, it's really good. They are good, right? But there are so many details you need to keep track on. And the alternative is, of course, this, having a little bit more modern version, right? So remember this. Cancelled purchases, lot of different reasons, have this as a checklist. And this is crazy, 37 seconds left, and I have, 20 slides left.
Go, go, go.
I need to pick up
Yes,
the speed, I
yes.
think. I got so much I want to talk about. But let's talk about this. This is the future of e-commerce, according to HUI. This is where we are right now. 2020, 75% is in-store shopping and 25% is online. The top ones are Swedish and from outside Sweden. Look at their scenarios here. They have two scenarios, one that is a little bit more optimistic and one that is super optimistic, I would say. 2030, they are thinking that we have over 40% of the share of everything we purchase except food are online. And look here, over 50%. So that's the future we are looking at. So, you know, you need to be careful with all the details in the complete customer journey to the very end. The report we have, you can download it. If you want it in English, contact me. We have an English version upcoming soon. Otherwise, you can have the Swedish one here using the QR code. Well, that's about it. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, these are for you. Thank you. I just texted my e-commerce manager at my jewelry brand to tell them we have to add Swish now. We're doing it in 10 minutes.
Good advice.
Thank you.
Good
yes,
advice. Thank
so
you.
much good advice. Thank you.